Hello, 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 fine people. You know, I just got a chance to look at the full production of Industry Baby, Lil Nas X. I heard some commentary on it and I'm like, wow. And I think what's even more befuddling is the fact that Kanye West produced that garbage, in my opinion. Now, I want to go into this topic of homophobic, right? Because I think a lot of people have a skewed idea of what homophobia is, down to individuals in the LGBTQ community. I think there is a very skewed idea of what homophobia is. Okay? So I'm going to read the definition of homophobia, and then I'm going to explain what my ideas and my opinion is about the whole idea of homophobia and why a lot of people have it wrong, and more so specifically individuals on the side of the coin that is seeking acceptance. Okay? So homophobia is defined as having or showing a dislike or prejudice against gay people. That is what homophobia is, right? Now, some gay people or people in that, community or whatever, depending on who they are, they will try to broaden that definition so that they can make themselves feel better about something. But bottom line is homophobia is having or showing a dislike of or prejudice against gay people. So how do I interpret that? That means that I don't have to agree with the that lifestyle in order for me to show humanity and respect towards another person. What's up, Marshall? I was looking at the Lil Nas X video, a lot of mixed commentary about it, obviously, because this young man is, he's a gay rapper, and that is his business. But what he's doing is he's wearing his sexuality on his sleeve. And there are a lot of people that are even in the LGBTQ community that look at Lil Nas X as an eyesore to their movement and who they are and what they're trying to do. Because what Lil Nas X does is he projects gay men, gay individuals, but specifically gay men, as these flaming devil worshipers, right? Who just wears their sexuality on their sleeves for everyone to see, whether they're comfortable with it or not. And I think that when you are an individual in any type of group, it is your responsibility to represent your group in a manner that, to me, drives respect towards that group, not disrespect, not controversy. And I look at Lil Nas X as an individual who causes controversy towards the LGBTQ initiatives. And even I know of individuals who say this, who are in that community, that they don't rock with him because he over exploits what they stand for. These people are like, you know what, I'm a gay man. I have my partner. We're professionals. We live our normal lives. We are together. And my thing is this, that is their business. But what these guys are doing is wearing their sexuality and their deviancy on their sleeves, right? So when people want to say that people who do not agree with the homosexual lifestyle, the LGBTQ lifestyle, are homophobic, I'd like for you all to step back and understand what homophobic is, right? Because nowhere in this definition does it say that a person hates the lifestyle. It says it hates the people, right? I don't agree with homosexual lifestyle. I don't agree with those types of behaviors. I don't agree with, people superimposing maybe their mental dysphoria about themselves on other people, but if they choose to be that way, that is their business. That is their business. It's not my business, and it's not my responsibility to accept it. It's not my responsibility to make them feel better about their choice to live their life that way, right? My job as a human being is to not target these people, not try to demean them for no damn reason, and pushing it on kids. And that's the thing. These people are trying to force feed their lifestyle on kids. Little Nas X is an op. He is an agenda op. And he is a specific op for the black male masculinity agenda. Because what he does is they use him to use his insecurities about being gay and coming out and all this feeling stuff, right, to get an emotional appeal. But all the while he's spitting wicked flows, so a young black boy don't even know how to take this dude. And before you know it, these young boys are buying into lifestyles that are, to me, I don't agree with. I don't agree with those. I would never want my son to be a little Nas X at all. I don't care how much money he making. I would never want him to be that boy. That boy promotes a lot of things, in my opinion, for the coin. I really do believe that. I think that he is an industry whore. And that's why his new album is fitting. He's an industry baby. He's an industry baby. So anything that Lil Nas X is pushing out is an industry agenda. And that agenda is very clear. Emasculate young black men. And what's so disgusting about this agenda is the fact that you got fake Christians like Kanye West producing this stuff. And then a lot of people argue, well, yay, he a producer, he shouldn't be discriminating and blah, blah, blah. People need to have scruples, okay? If you're a true Christian or whatever, there are some projects you are just going to stand down from because it conflicts with your own morality. You don't, and that's something that, to me, when Kanye West was promoting his album Jesus is King and all that stuff like that, but then you turn around and produce all this stuff and promote and produce a sexual deviant like Lil Nas X, who is obviously into satanic things, it's like your whole Sunday service thing just kind of just went down the toilet and it burst into flames like everything else in the system of things. I am so over Kanye West. I feel like he is a traitor to the so-called Christians that he wanted to target. Because anytime you can produce some bullshit like that, knowing that there is an agenda to target young black men, you're a fake Christian, Kanye. You're a fake Christian. I didn't care that Kanye West supported Trump. I didn't care about that. If you wanted to take on a conservative perspective, that's fine. But when you're running around talking about Sunday service and trying to get people supposedly back to some level of Christianity, and then you turn around and produce a project like this, an artist like this, you don't have any moral compass, Kanye. You're a sellout. You sell out for the coin just like everybody else. So, yeah, it may be an ethical dilemma, but as a Christian, and especially as one that's going around, bouncing around from city to city, doing Sunday services, calling yourself Jesus as if you like a black Jesus on earth or whatever, Kanye shouldn't have had an ethical dilemma at all. He should have been like, okay, I think somebody else needs to produce this album. He could have made himself conveniently unavailable to produce it, but no, Kanye did that shit. He could have said no. And that's why I'm like, Ye ain't a real Christian. And I can't rock with Kanye West anymore because it's like, this ain't about mental health issues, right? Because Kanye West is not a dumb man. A lot of people take mental health issues with, lack of, intellectual sensibilities. And that's not true. Kanye West ain't no dummy. He know exactly what he's doing. All the time. He's a very calculated man. And at the end of the day, he's a capitalist. So, but getting back, we're talking about homophobic. And I think that, as we start to get into this society where we have more people with unique mindsets about themselves, I'm non-binary and call me by this pronoun and X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. I don't agree with those lifestyles. Those lifestyles have nothing to do with me. They're none of my business. And what people in those communities need to realize is just that. Just because you chose to live this lifestyle and it works for you doesn't mean that everybody else is going to agree with it and that you should superimpose your lifestyle on people, calling them homophobic because they don't agree with the lifestyle, but they're not disrespecting you. And that's my issue with some of these people in the gay community. They don't know how to not force feed their decisions on other people. You're basically forcing people to accept you by saying, if you don't accept me for the lifestyle that I chose to live, that you're homophobic. And it's like, first of all, I don't got to accept not a goddamn person on this earth, whether they're gay or not. That's the whole point. Each one of us on this earth have our own moral compass. And we don't have to accept anything that anybody do if it presents a contradiction to our moral compass. So if your moral compass is living the gay lifestyle, that is your business. Because I'm starting to think that we're going into a society of people being heterophobic, where they are so force feeding people to accept, gay culture or whatever, that they don't realize that they're superimposing on heterosexual people. And a lot of these gay people are heterophobic. So I think we need to start putting that phrase out there and bouncing shit back on them. If I'm homophobic because I don't agree with the gay lifestyle, but I can still respect your ass or whatever, you're heterophobic because you can't respect the fact that I'm a heterosexual that don't buy into your lifestyle, but I can still respect you. And that's just the bottom line. And I'm really tired of these people. Every time somebody has an opinion about Lil Nas X and his wearing his flaming behaviors on his sleeve, that they're homophobic. To be honest with you, Lil Nas X does a lot of disgusting things. He does a lot of disgusting things. I know gay men. I live in pretty much a gay community. And I don't see the gay men in my community exploiting and wearing their sexuality on their sleeves and like Lil Nas X. That man is exploiting gay people and gay culture, if you ask me. And if I was a gay person, I would be offended at Lil Nas X just like heterosexual people are offended by him because he makes that community look bad. He does. Little Nas X makes the gay community look bad. Preference is not prejudice. Absolutely, James. Absolutely. Just because I have a preference not to support homosexual lifestyles, you know what I mean, doesn't mean that I have a prejudice against that person. It's like, look, I don't need to go to your rallies. I don't need to go to your parades. I don't need to vote on any laws or whatever to promote anything that you want to do for me to be able to respect you. Your life choices is your business, and I support what I want to support. Okay? So if it's a matter of gay rights or whatever, give gay people rights. My whole thing is gay people should have as much rights as anybody else. If you paying taxes up in this motherfucker, if the IRS is raping your earnings illegally like everybody else, you deserve the same rights as everybody else, right? But you also need to understand, to me, that these gay people are lumping in their rights, in terms of everybody has to accept me. Everybody has to accept me and make me feel good about this decision that I'm insecure about the fact that I made. And it's like, no, your gayness is your business. Your sexual practices is not my business, down to the workplace. If I see a transgender or whatever, and his name was Carl, and then 5 months later he's transitioning, now he want me to call him Caroline, I'm going to call you Caroline because I respect that's what you want to be called. But don't sit there and think that I'm about to sit up there and talk to you about your transition, because it's not something that I would be a valuable person to talk to about, because I don't agree with that. That is your decision. Don't superimpose it on me. I believe that people are the people that they were naturally born as. Okay? Reality is intrinsic. The mind creates all kinds of simulations, and people get fed into simulations on the internet of what you can be. You can be anything you want to be. Okay? That's true. Science has created all kinds of avenues where people can be anything that they want to be other than a thing that they were naturally born as. Okay? All right. And science still can't get around the fact that men and women, when they come together, they make babies, they procreate. See, a transgender man can turn himself into a woman all he wants to. He can try to take on the psychological things, because if I was a transgender man or whatever, and I like, okay, I know that women have cramps, right? Period cramps. Then all of a sudden, I'm going to psychologically condition myself that a stomach ache is period cramps, and now I'm going to be a data statistic that the liberals can talk about. Oh, some transgender women experience periods. They have periods, and I'm like, no, the fuck they don't. They do not. They do not. Okay? A man that transitioned into a woman, and some of these men look way better than women, average women. Mad props to some of these dudes that can actually turn themselves into women. But at the end of the day, when we get down to the rite of passages of women, right? You didn't have a period. Okay? You did not have a period. You will never have a period. You will never, unless science afford you the opportunity, and you're going to pay a half the amount of money to be able to secure all the things that women have naturally. Right? And some of these transgender dudes, they look so terrible as women. It's like, bro, you should have just stayed a dude. And now you want me to sit here and make you feel better about this decision when you an ugly fucking woman now. And it's like, and now I'm homophobic because I'm looking at your ass and I'm just like, okay, Caroline, or whatever, but I'm not sitting up there just overly trying to make you feel better about anything. That's not my business. That's your business to work out in that whole transition. I'm not the person. I'm not homophobic. I just don't agree with your lifestyle. Just like you may not agree with my straight lifestyle. And that's pretty much my business. I choose to be a straight woman. I think Lil Nas is trying to troll heterosexual people. He really is. He's trying to troll heterosexual people, but he's also exploiting an agenda that is specifically demographic targeted. Black young men. And they're very specific in how they target with these deviants sometimes, because they use things that are very familiar to young men, right? Here's the thing about Lil Nas. The dude got little bars. I mean, if you listen to Industry Baby, it's a hard, to me, if you lyrically, between him and Jack Harlow, I feel like they did a really good job on that song. The song, right? But take away the video, right? You look at the video and it's like, okay, now I see the agenda. So if you just take the song by itself, maybe you can get past not really hearing the agenda, but the agenda is like, no, we got to put this hard song with this fruity video. And that's what we get from Lil Nas X. This stuff is calculated. But it's just to go to say that the definition of homophobic is, like I said, let me go back just for the people who are just tuning in. The definition of homophobic is having or showing a dislike or prejudice against gay people. Against gay people. It says nothing about their lifestyle, right? Nothing about their lifestyle. So you can be a heterosexual person who choose not to support that lifestyle, and you don't have to be homophobic. Where you go into the homophobic zone is when you are blatantly disrespecting gay people, right? Gay people this, gay people that, gay people that, gay. I don't have to say anything about gay people all day long for me not to accept gay culture. But when it's being force-fed down my throat, flaming all over the place, or whatever, and I'm being made to accept it, and y'all saying that I'm homophobic because I have an opinion about Lil Nas X, it's like y'all must not know what homophobic is. All right? You must not know what homophobic is. Because being homosexual to me is a lifestyle. It's a choice. I don't care what nobody say. It is your choice, right? I don't have to agree with your choice to respect you or have some level of humanity towards you as a person. And even gay people need to recognize this. I think they need to recognize it more than heterosexual people because, for the most part, the homosexual lifestyle has been around in society enough where it doesn't have to be force fed. A lot of people don't even really care about who anybody else is sleeping with. I think where people get a little cross is when people are wearing their sexuality on their sleeves outwardly in a way that is promoting it. I'm a straight woman. I ain't on no campaign to make sure women are straight. I'm a straight one. I'm wearing straight all over stuff. Hi everybody. I'm a straight woman today. You ain't gotta wear your sexuality on your sleeve for people to respect you as a person. So again, I think Lil Nas X is doing the gay community a disservice, really. And I strongly believe that Lil Nas X is making them a target of hate because he's exploiting that lifestyle in a way that I think drives more people to hate those people than it does accept those people. That's just my opinion. We heterosexual men are not, I repeat, not attracted to gay men. There is nothing they can do to change that. Let me tell you something though. They look at that. Sports Illustrated has a trans woman. And I saw two heterosexual men from the manosphere have a hard time talking, about this trans woman in a negative way because she looked better than your average bitch. She did. This trans woman looked better than a lot of, I think she was Filipino and black, which honestly the Asians can transition into trans much easier. Asian men, Hispanic men can transition into the trans, or they can transition or whatever better than, in my opinion, better than any other race. I have yet to see a trans male into a female that look better than Asian and Hispanic men transitioning. And I could be wrong about that. But these men had a hard time talking about that Sports Illustrated trans woman model. Because they just like, it's a dude. It's a dude. Like, they know it's a dude, but you can't tell it was a dude. You couldn't tell it was a dude at all. And that's how they creep into your fantasy. Because even as a straight man, now you looking at this and you're like, I know that's a dude, but damn, that's a fine ass dude. And it starts off with those little things. Like, I actually heard one of those dudes, like, that's a fine looking man. And they don't realize that, okay, I know that it is wrong for me to think this way, but this man is fine. You know what I mean? It creeps in, and they do it in a very subtle way. They do it in a very, very subtle way. So I just wanted to do this short video. I'm not going to make this a long thing, but I want people to start, both in these communities and outside of these communities, understand what homophobia is. Homophobia is when you have a dislike or prejudice against gay people. If you don't agree with the gay lifestyle, you are not homophobic. Okay? You just don't agree with that lifestyle. Now, if you start specifically attacking gay people, hate speech against them, and that's just what you do, then that makes you homophobic. If you got a coworker that is gay and you guys can work well together, but you can still not agree with his lifestyle, you're not homophobic, right? But if somebody say, well, hey, I want to talk to you about, I'm having some issues, with my transition as a woman. I'm going to be honest with that person and say, I'm not the best person to talk to about that because I don't understand that decision enough to be able to be that person, because I'm not going to give you any advice that's going to help you, because I don't think it's natural for men to turn into women and women to turn into men. It's just not. Reality is intrinsic. And I don't care what the mainstream want to project, reality is intrinsic. And intrinsically, if you are born with a vagina, you are a woman. Intrinsically, if you were born with a penis, you are a man. And if you just happen to be a one off, because there are one off or evolutions in some people or whatever, where they may be a chimera, right? And chimerism comes in different forms, right? But one form of chimerism is the hermaphrodite, right? There are one offs, but we're talking about just population in general. Men are born either male or female. And there are certain things that happen within that biological organ system that differentiates us as male and females. And in order for you to be, you can simulate being either one all you want to, but intrinsically, you are a scientific. I'm sorry. At this point, you're a scientific person. You're not you're not a natural person at that point. You have altered yourself scientifically so that you could modify your genetic makeup to turn you into something that your body will ultimately continue to reject it being. Why do you think transphobic people have to take so many hormones, and why their mindsets are all messed up? I mean, I know homophobic people, or not homophobic people, but trans people, and they take these hormones, and they have it's almost like some of them go through this mental psychosis, if you will, because their body is rejecting that. Their body doesn't want what they're pumping into it. You know what I mean? And these are the same types of people that are competing in the Olympics, taking these drugs that are altering their minds, and their hormones, right? But then Sha'Carri Richardson gets pulled out for taking weed or smoking weed. It's crazy, the contradiction in the world, but y'all be cool. If you meet any of the definitions of, if you can respect gay people, and you can respect, when I say respect, if you can, give a person, natural, just the normal respect that a person would give a person that they have to work with or interact with without agreeing with their lifestyle and how they choose to live, you are not homophobic, and you should reject anybody calling you that. And I think that you should remind people of what the definition of homophobic is. And it's really, you don't like gay people. I don't have to agree with the gay lifestyle to like the person. I have a lot of friends that I know of who are gay. They don't meet the criteria of Lil Nas X gay. These are professional gays who don't wear their sexuality on their sleeves like that. They're not exploiting or promoting their gay lifestyle because they don't find that necessary, which is what a lot of gay people do. But the only reason why they exploit it is because they have insecurity about that decision, and they're starving for acceptance. When I look at Lil Nas X and people like him who feed into that, they are starving for acceptance because you don't have to wear your sexuality on your sleeve to have it. So have a good night, everyone. Learn how to be respectful. Let's be objective with each other, and let's look at a lot of these arguments, with the sensitivity that they need. But also, we have to stand up for ourselves too. We should not allow people to label us as something that we are not. Especially if we don't meet the criteria. So have a wonderful evening, y'all. I know some people may not like this video, but that's when you have to go back and get inside yourself and understand, why don't I like what is being said? Do I meet the profile of what's being said? Or have I not considered, how I superimpose my sexuality on heterosexual people for them to accept me, versus allowing that to be some organic process where, as they get to know me as a person, maybe they can come to some resolution about my lifestyle. You can't force feed your lifestyle on other people. And that's what people in the LGBTQ community need to recognize. You are the only person that needs to accept you. And if you have not accepted you first, then that's where your problem is in the first place. But you can't force people to accept you and your lifestyle. And that's whether you're gay or not. We just can't force people to accept us. So, good night, everybody.